narcissism has become a popular word in our current culture. We all fall on the narcissistic spectrum, and there are ways to be a good and healthy narcissist, but most people are concerned with the extreme and negative narcissistic behaviors as defined by modern-day psychology as Narcissistic Personality Disorder. Their behavior is not based on a healthy and wholesome outlook on life and their inner world, but a state of internal suffering that is never resolved. The most important telltale sign of a narcissist is a lack of empathy. The lack of empathy in a narcissist is the result of a missing truthful connection to the narcissist with their higher self, their true being, which is a guiding light and a guiding force throughout all of our lives. But for the unhealthy narcissist, this connection has been severed, and they seek to control and manipulate the world around them with overt and sometimes silent seething forces. To make up for the lack of love streaming from source, they try to seek it without. We come into the physical world with a direct connection to source and the universe through our higher self. But since we have chosen to come into a physical body and create in this physical reality within its physical conditions, our early bonds with other humans help co-create our deep psychic imprints. As young children, we develop our sense of self based in the physical world through the love, attention, corporal and emotional connection we receive from our parents or caretakers. In an ideal scenario, our early physical life helps maintain and strengthen the bridge between our physical self, which is our body, our mind, psyche, and emotions, and our spiritual higher self, our soul. If a child is raised in a conditional environment without true unconditional love and attention, a confusion begins to form within their psyche. They begin to experience a split between the higher self, which is all loving and unconditional, and the conditional experiences of the physical world around them presented by the adults around them who are also cut off from source. This confusion deepens quickly, and once it peaks by the time the child is between the ages of 5 and 7 years old, their connection to the higher self begins to sever. Once this connection is diminished, the child very easily becomes a puppet and plaything for the adults around them. The adults who are themselves cut off from source now can pass on this vicious cycle to the children. And so the child's physical reality begins to be defined simply by the physical, and they begin to feel trapped in its conditional acceptance. You will be loved if, the parent says, you do the things that make me happy. Authentic self-love becomes obsolete, only made up by the approval and attention we get from others. The child literally forgets who they truly are, and this creates a split. This split creates a series of deep emotional and mental disorders that are simply a symptom of feeling a separateness from the true source of life, which feeds us with love, intuition, and greater guidance. And so, then, as a narcissist grows up lacking compassion and a greater and deeper view of the physical and non-physical world, they have a difficult time relating to the environment around them with a sense of ease and joy. Life is not easy or joyful within them, so how can they create it without? And so, they quickly discover that the only way to get what they want is to try to become this greater force, the one they are lacking a connection from. But since they cannot truly tap into the positive forces of the universe through their consistent positive frequency, they resort to manipulating and controlling the world around them. When others are not responsive to the manipulations of a narcissist, this is reflected in their reactions of deep rage or depression. Narcissists lack empathy because they cannot see the effects of their actions in the non-physical world, and so they offer a perspective that is lacking in heart and soulfulness. The hollow space that is created from their lack of connection to their higher self is replaced with a gnawing feeling that they'll never be enough, they'll never be full, And so they are constantly looking to the outer world for more things, more achievements. This is not even the most severe manifestation of dark narcissism. For the narcissist, if the things and accomplishments are not enough, then accumulating victims becomes their true intention. The constant state of lack and fear that dominates the overt narcissist also dominates the covert narcissist. This kind of narcissist believes that they are a victim and the world owes them. Others should be tending to their pain and rage. Like all deep mental and emotional diseases, and at their simplest form, narcissism is a lack of seeing the true light of the universe. And like a person who cannot see, a narcissist must develop other ways to move around the world, deep within, hurting with a desire to see that which they were cut off from, while blinded to their own dark desires. This continues to feed their deeper feelings of rage, frustration, and manipulation. Because they cannot experience the all-loving force and all-accepting force of Source, narcissists must create and develop all kinds of twisted ways to try to connect with others around them. But they still continue to propagate this feeling of self-loathing, and a true connection is never really reached. No amount of saving attention or love from others will suffice, because the true source of love is not present for them. The behavior that the narcissist uses to control and manipulate the world around them can range from the seductive to the repulsive. No matter if narcissists use loud or obvious ways of grabbing attention or they're more covert, their source of narcissistic behavior is always the same: the broken bond between them and their inner being, the broken bridge between them and Source. Modern psychology claims that a person with narcissistic personality disorder cannot really be healed through modern psychology. And they are correct. One cannot simply use the mind to create the deep shift within that is necessary to transform the narcissistic bad behavior into healthy narcissistic behavior. It is the spirit that truly leads us into deep compassion. The mind is simply a dedicated servant. Therapy can actually induce even more narcissistic behavior, feeding the never-ending mental loops that keep the narcissist even hungrier. When we cut off from Source and we make the achievements of our outer world the measure of our success, of course it will never be enough, for the physical world is always tempting us with more and more things. Much of the envy and jealousy experienced by the narcissist is in witnessing the joy and connection that others are feeling, but the one that they are lacking in. This is a constant reminder that no matter how much they achieve, how attractive they are, they need more, but more is never enough. Vanity only serves to cover up the lack of true self-love. The key to transforming bad narcissistic behavior into healthy narcissistic behavior is tapping into the abundant and never-ending love of the universe. Once we tap into that, we can begin to heal and mend our inner bonds, and then begin to turn our attention without and connect with others. This inner love then turns into compassion. Because we tend to undervalue our spiritual health, we tend to undervalue what it has to offer, including the wisdom, solutions, and insight. A healthy narcissist is someone who is genuinely interested in others. Their honest desire to play and create with others drives them to offer greater value. A healthy narcissist's strong connection to the life force inspires them to offer more value, more joy, more clarity to the world, since they are filled with it within. It is through the process of transforming self-love into compassion that we give birth to the empathy that creates incredible realities around us, where kindness, creativity, joy, and play are essential to our health and development. Empathy allows us to have a better understanding of ourselves and others, and in that offer a perspective that draws more of the good of life, while living in appreciation and gratitude for what we already have. A deep appreciation for the world around us can only be achieved by gracefully understanding that not everyone is always connected to their higher self, including ourselves. And in that lack of connection, one offers behaviors and ways of being that can be greatly displeasing and manipulative. Whenever we are reactive to this kind of behavior, we fall prey to the dark forces. As we begin to accept our own imperfection while still appreciating and loving ourselves, we begin to see the fullness and different sides of others more clearly. Our empathy becomes a bridge to love. Love is a bridge to compassion, and compassion creates a better world.